We are back with Peter and Rolf Nelson with Nelson Nursery and Water Gardens. All right, a couple of more questions that we want to do here before we get to our fountains. Josh says, what's the safest way to deal with pests if I'm growing fruits and veggies for my kids?
Oh, go organic as much as you possibly can. And they're going to be OMRI certified if they're fully organic, so you can read your labels. There are a number of companies making the organic treatments right now. And there's some that are very species specific. So you want to try to identify what the problem is, so you choose the right product to use on it.
All right. Aisha says, my St. Augustine lawn is turning brown fast. How often should I water in this heat? And we haven't really reached the heat yet, right?
Well, 2 weeks ago, I was telling people water 3 to 4 times a week. Typically, I don't know if she has irrigation or a sprinkler.
Yeah.
You do want to want to evenly water your grass, versus areas that pond or whatever. So if she has irrigation, we had the rain last week, which helps, but it's going to dry out quickly. So I would do 3 to 4 times a week, probably about 15 minutes. If she's watering by hand, with the oscillating sprinkler, I'd probably do that probably twice a week for an hour.
Okay.
And then, if she notices stuff is drying out super quick, we need to improve that soil. Maybe add in some sort of compost to the soil. Leaf mold compost is great because that'll help hold water in the soil, keep it, from drying out so quickly.
Yeah.
So those small tips.
I mentioned earlier that we have many more patio homes today and many more high-rises where they have like a small balcony, so you can do, plants in a planter and still have your garden, if you will. But you also can do these beautiful, wonderful fountains. Now, as a landscape architect, and we've been to your place, if you want your whole backyard to be a big goldfish pond, y'all can do it, right?
We can do it. We've done some big ponds.
But we can do even smaller water spaces, sometimes with fish, sometimes without fish, as we have set up here. And this proves that you don't have to have a big source of anything else but that to make it work.
I mean, look at the size of this, Deborah. I mean, it's just, 4 or 5 inches tall, 18 inches across. There's a little pump down in there. Birds love this little fountain. I have people that put it on the center of a table, an outdoor table. This one here at the bottom, the blue one, again, it's completely self-contained. You bring it home, you put water in it, the pump plugs in, and it just bubbles up and over. So it can be that simple. Very, very simple and easy to take care of. We
now
have
let's
safe
add
products.
this fish. There's some fish down here at the bottom of my feet.
Your favorite. So
yes.
We brought today.
Oh, look, hi. Look, I'm talking to the fish.
Yes.
What's wrong with me?
Well, they can hear it through the plastic.
Right.
But we got what they call a calico fantail and a Japanese fantail. These are little goldfish. And goldfish are great to have in a small container. People always say, hey, I want to get koi. I want to get the big.
Yeah.
You can't put those, obviously, in a small container. So we want to try to mimic nature in a water garden setting. So we're trying to have enough plants and healthy stuff. This is a product called hornwort.
Okay.
People call it hogwort all the time, but it's actually called hornwort.
Yeah.
This plant doesn't have roots, so for this plant to live, it's actually in the water and it's absorbing that nutrient, so it's starving the algae out. So if you get the proper balance, you don't even have to have a pump in these ponds.
Yeah.
And then what's the other great thing about the fish is they eat the mosquito larvae.
I love that because people always ask, okay, wait, if you have a water garden, isn't that going to attract mosquitoes? First of all, running water doesn't, right?
Correct. Yes, they really want stagnant water.
Yeah.
You're going to have more issues with the 5-gallon bucket that's got 2 inches of water in it.
Yeah.
But then these, these can be pretty still, but if you have a couple fish in there, goldfish are great. There's a native minnow called rainbow dace that'll eat the mosquito larvae. Really, they found that mosquitoes get attracted to it, the fish eat them up, you end up with less mosquitoes.
And we've watched it. We've watched it happen. Yeah, the mosquitoes come, they go, oh, look, water. And the fish are like, oh, we're waiting for you, right? And so we're looking at some pictures here of just some various ways that you can create that water space in someone's backyard. And it can be a big space, like I mentioned, a smaller space, but you can make it very natural looking. I mean, it's just really beautiful.
That's a really cool pond in Bynum.
Yeah, but there's all kinds of things you can do in someone's backyard with the given space that you have there. All right, now I will ask this. I've asked you this question before, but I found out for myself. I remember we went through that pretty tough winter not long ago, and I walked outside after the temperature started warming up, and something caught my attention, and it was moving in the pond. I assumed all of our fish had frozen and they were gone because it was frozen solid, on the top. And all of a sudden I went, the fish are in there. They're still alive.
Yeah, the interesting thing is everybody calls and is worried about their fish in the cold weather. And they can handle it. They live under ice up north. There's not a problem. And we are more concerned about our plants. What do we do with plants in the cold weather? But the fish are fine, okay? The only tip we might have is if you have a waterfall, we could possibly super chill the water. We just unplug a pump. let the water sit still, and even let ice form, and everybody's fine.
Yeah, yeah. All right, as we showed the picture of you earlier sitting on that big water lily as a kid, and your kids have done the same thing, you also have a variety of plants outside of what you just showed us that can also go into the ponds.
Correct. So like, for example, this is called umbrella palm. So it looks like an umbrella top without the fabric on it. And there's just, you can see the water lily. That's a beautiful pink hardy water lily. So that's a true perennial. So even if you get ice on that water ball, it's going to come back every year. I brought a cool little plant called mosaic plant, which makes like a little rosette, a diamond shape, which is a cool plant to put in the summer. But there's really, Mom and Dad actually grow all the bog plants and water lilies at their home.
Yeah.
So those plants are grown, not by us, by him.
Yeah, locally grown. Yes.
I love it. All right, as we talked about a little bit earlier, making sure your foundation is right. And the other tough part for a lot of folks is they go, okay, I did this for my yard and I got the mulch and the whole bit, but this plant's still not doing well. It's not only what your foundation is, it's what part of area of the house and the sunlight that it's getting that makes a difference as well. If you have a plant that's sitting in shade all day, then it might not do as well if it needs full sun, right?
Correct.
And for the most part, if you have a colorful bloom, oftentimes those colorful blooms do require that full sun.
Correct. That's a really good way to think about it. And a lot of times, if you see plants with really big leaves, those are plants in the shade because they're trying to gather as much light as they can. But big, showy stuff, vincas, so these are my favorites for summertime. Penta, vinca, salvias, purslanes.
Santa Maria?
Yes.
No.
But then, then you get into the hibiscus. This is a jatropha. Dad brought a lot of the different natives that do well.
A lot of the nerves.
And when we say natives, like some people will xeriscape their yard. Basically, that means that those plants know what's coming and have dealt with it better.
Yes,
in some sense?
yeah, and a lot of them can, when they're mature, take a drier period of time or a longer period of dry weather. They need to be nursed along when they're first planted, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to be cared for and watered, but once they're established, less care.
Just like children. All right, once they're 21, we'll let them go. All right, gentlemen, thank you so very much. And for more information about Nelson Nursery and Water Gardens, go to greatdayhouston.com and we will connect you. And when you go to the store, it's just so great, because they literally can help you with any questions that you might have. We'll be right back.